Alrighty guys, so today is the day. We are going to attempt to put this cab back on the truck. It's actually a pretty decent day out today. It's not too cold, not too, jeez. But I think the cab is back together enough that we can put it on the truck. We'll be able to start piecing things back together and figuring the rest out. I got the cowl put back together, the wipers and all that stuff, so this thing is ready to go. We're gonna get it strapped to the chain hoist, get it up in the air, and then we'll pull the frame underneath it and set her on it. It's just the basics of it. You got to go the wrong way before you go the right way with one of these things. Try to keep this straight, that way if it does fall, it'll land on the casters. Day. Nice and smooth. You know, at one point I actually cut that headache rack off. I should have left it off. Strong like bull. Smells like crap. Well, it's not exactly how I planned it to go, but the cab is back on the frame. We had some slight issues there, as you saw. Most of it was just poor planning on my part. I've never used the gantry in this driveway. It's always been at the old house, which was a gigantic hill. I've gotten a couple of comments for those of you that missed it. We did move. We have a new shop, completely new place. I'll link a video to that video where we move here. So yeah, along with the new place comes a little bit of a learning curve. And at the old house, we had to shim the gantry to get it level, you know, because you don't want it sticking like this when you're lifting up on it. It took a 6x6 on the downhill side of it and a 4x4 in the middle of it to get it to sit level. So that means that technically at the middle of the gantry, it was 4 inches higher than it is here in our new driveway. Also, with it being such a steep hill, as the truck kind of rolled out it and the back end started to go down, it would kind of take the, you know, it's going like this, so it kind of went under it a little easier. And when I designed the gantry, I wanted to build it as cheaply as possible because that's me. And so I did some measurements, and it was like 14 foot was like, it might clear. It was going to be close. Between the 4x4 and having to roll down the driveway, that definitely helped us out a lot. And I didn't even think about that here. This driveway, it's not completely flat. It's got a little bit of pitch away from the house. So I knew it was going to start rolling at some point. And I have the tow bar, because I fixed that after our last fiasco with the tow bar at the old house. And I've used the tractor now a number of times to pull it out and push it back in while I'm doing other things in the garage. And it's a little much for the tractor, but it does it. So, and my plan was to pull it out far enough that I could get the tractor on the other side of the cab and then use the tow bar from there on out. And I was like, well, if it does take off on me, it'll just go underneath the cab and we'll push it back and go from there. And as you guys just saw, the cab was not high enough and it took off sooner than I expected. And we almost put the cab on the bed. Luckily, the gantry was built well enough that like somehow nothing broke, nothing fell. The front legs on the gantry actually started lifting up off the ground, but it was actually enough to like stop the frame from moving. So, because it had pretty much stopped by the time I got the tractor into reverse and like plowed into it. I wish that had captured my face. And you want to know the really stupid thing? So we moved, which means we have new neighbors. My neighbor 2 houses down has not 1, but has 2 gray dolls. I hate asking people for help, especially like people I don't know that well. I don't like, their driveway's longer than ours. And a driveway that long doesn't say, hey, come ask me to borrow the gray doll. But I think after this, I'm done with the gantry. We're going to take it down and never set it up again. So throughout the years, I've taken some heat in the comment section for this wooden gantry. Apparently a lot of people think it's unsafe, you know. I think it's time to prove you guys wrong. So I have it tethered to my driveway here. This one piece of my driveway is kind of settled. So we're going to use the gantry and lift this whole chunk of concrete up, and we're going to re-level it and set it back down. There's a slightly better view up here. That's why we came up to the roof. Nothing to do with flying parts and stuff. It's got a pretty good bow to it. Has the concrete moved at all? How did you fall off that roof? I really wish this was more exciting right now. There we go. And you guys doubted this thing. Okay, hopefully this is it this time. Is everybody ready? Grab your popcorn. This isn't as cool as I thought it'd be. I thought it'd just snap all at once. I mean, I thought it'd lift this whole slab right up. Okay. Crap or get off the pot, man, really. I don't know if the camera picks it up how much this is like bowing right now. It's like a 747 right there. Come on, baby. Lift that slab up. There we go. Timber. So now we are to the most annoying stage of any build. I feel like most builds that get abandoned are going to be in this stage here. It's slow moving and there's just not like visible progress, you know. That's the hardest part for me. I like seeing things happen, you know. So like we're putting the cab on, we're pulling the engine out. There's big things happening that I can see progress being made. But when it comes down to making power steering lines and hooking up shifter cables and that kind of stuff, the progress is much smaller. It feels much smaller, so you don't really like see big things happening, and it just gets, this part of the build is going to be the most discouraging. It'll beat you down mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. In the end, this turns out to be the most rewarding part, I guess I'll say, because like working on your own stuff, you just learn so much. You know, like before I started this project, I knew nothing about CAD engines, really. I knew nothing about Allison transmissions. I knew nothing about air brake systems, air compressor, you know, onboard air, hydro boost, power steering. You know, like I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. Like I said, in the end, it's the most rewarding, but at the time, it's very discouraging. And it's just one of those things you just got to push through. But we've made it through here once before, and a lot of the stuff that we had will still work. There are going to be things that need to change because we did move the engine slightly. For the most part, I think a lot of stuff will just bolt right up. And I think one of the things I'm going to start doing is I'm going to make a list. Because sometimes I find, me personally, when you have so much stuff to do like this, it gets almost overwhelming and hard. It's all part of the process, and it's how you learn. And it'll make you better, trust me. Don't give up on your projects, guys. The other thing I want to point out is just how well the cab fits this time. I mean, I didn't have to do any modifying. I literally dropped it on there and everything fit. We really didn't move the engine forward that much, but it's like you can almost fit your hand behind it now. So there's definitely way more room. These motor mounts are way better now. I mean, look at all the room I have in here. Before these airlines, this is all for the parking brake and gauges and whatnot. But these all had to run out and like over here between the cab mount and my engine mount. But with this new engine mount setup, there's just a ton of room down here, which will make it really nice. It'll make the running all my airlines and fuel lines and everything much cleaner than before, because it was just kind of a mess down here, which is probably why you guys never saw it. Yeah, so today I worked on the dipstick tube. We got that kind of rebent. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. It's kind of hard to bend the dipstick tube without marring it up and putting little kinks in it. I was just using my my 1/2-inch pipe bender. It fits in there pretty decent. It's not like a perfect fit, but it fits in there and it will bend it, but it does leave marks. But you're not really gonna be able to see them anyways. And it kind of comes up right next to my oil dipstick, so it's gonna be perfect. They'll be right next to each other, which will be easy. I'm also working on putting in the shift cable. I'm going to try to do it a little differently this time. Last time it looped around the other way over the hydro boost and then down. This time I'm going to loop it up and in, try to make it look a little nicer, neater. And we ran into some issues on the other end. The 545 had this here where the cable just kind of went through, and then you tighten down those bolts and it pinched it into place. And the 2000 has a little bit different setup. So this is the shifter bracket on the Allison 2000. The cable should fit back there. And then there's a little pinch bolt that goes in here, cranks it into place. The issue is the end of it is a little bit too big to fit in there, and I can't seem to find the proper cable to order. So I'm just going to use what I got. We'll make a little tab to weld onto that bracket, and that'll catch our cable on this end and everything will work. All right, Daisy, Daddy's gonna be doing something dangerous here, so it's time to put the flamethrower up.
No.
No, you need to go inside.
Please.
You can come back out and run with scissors later.
How are you?
Get in the engine, baby. Get it down there. And that is beautiful. Look at that. Next to each other. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this episode on the truck. We didn't get a whole lot accomplished. So we got the cab on, bolted down. We got the dipstick tube in. We got the shift cable ran, the new bracket on the bottom. I don't think I've ever shown you guys this awesome piece here. So you can see the factory shift indicator wasn't going to work. So mainly because I tore it out, but also because the AT545 didn't have a park. So I made this masking tape and Sharpie gear indicator. Right, there's park. And now we'll actually be able to switch out our ignition interlock because I had to modify that so that there wasn't a park lock. And so we can switch back to the factory ignition actuator. I'm hoping we can come up with something a little bit better than this. This worked. There's quite a bit of play in that. So it was like, am I in drive or am I in 3? So, but that's cool. We got the shifter hooked up. So that is one hurdle covered. Dipstick turned out pretty decent too. Yeah, we're just gonna keep plugging away at this. You know, it is what it is. These videos are gonna be kind of me figuring out how to hook stuff up and hopefully succeeding at it. So I gotta order a bunch of parts so we can continue working on this. Once those start showing up, we'll start putting more stuff on it. Definitely getting excited seeing the truck in this state, you know, because it's starting to come back together. I can actually like sit in it now and play with the gear shift. So it's, you know, you start getting closer. One of these days we'll pull it on out of here and drive it down the road, I hope. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button, please. If you're new to the channel or haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on the bell so you get notified when I post a video, because I go so long between posts you forget who I am. But anyways, hope your projects are coming along. We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye.